ayahuasca may be consumed. As a researcher, I have always felt that I have to get my boots on the ground. There's no point in me sounding off about something that I haven't experienced myself. And back in the early 2000s, while writing a book about shamanism, it became important for me to drink ayahuasca. So I went down to the Amazon and had my first 11 sessions with ayahuasca there. Those sessions were so transformatory. The teachings that I received from them were so important and marked a fundamental turning point in my life that I decided to remain enrolled in the school of ayahuasca. And as a result, I've now had more than 70 journeys with ayahuasca. And therefore, can thank you. I know people who've had many more journeys than 70. It takes great fortitude. But I can speak from some level of experience, and what I can tell you is it's very normal in ayahuasca visions to meet intelligent entities who often take the form of therianthropes, that is, they are part animal and part human in form, and who communicate with us telepathically and give us teachings of great importance in our lives. For anybody who's not drunk ayahuasca, especially if they're a scientist like Richard Dawkins, that must sound completely lunatic. But for anybody who has drunk ayahuasca, it makes perfect sense. Another aspect of ayahuasca visions, really universal, is geometry. Everybody sees geometry in ayahuasca visions. And actually, there have been detailed scientific studies of this. Professor Benny Shannon, who's professor of psychology at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, who's drunk ayahuasca about 800 times. Benny Shannon has done a detailed cross-cultural comparison. He's found that wherever people drink ayahuasca in the world, even though they haven't compared notes, they see geometric visions. And this is the case with the Shipibo of the Amazon, who choose to depict in their weavings and on their pottery the geometric aspects of their ayahuasca visions. The Tucano also are an ayahuasca drinking culture of the Amazon. Ayahuasca is in fact so central to Tucano cultural life that each newborn babe will be given a teaspoonful of ayahuasca at birth. And again, this is something that seems extraordinary to our Western ears that have been subjected to the so-called war on drugs for so many decades. But for the Tucano, it makes perfect sense because they believe we're surrounded by an invisible reality, life and the afterlife, and the spirits of the afterlife. And that reality is dealing with us whether we like it or not, and we had better be proactive in dealing with it. And ayahuasca is seen as a portal to that spirit world, to the other side. Now the Tucano, like the Shipibo and like everybody else who drinks ayahuasca, see geometric patterns in their visions. And what we're seeing on the screen here is a Tucano shaman depicting the geometric patterns of his visions on the sand of the Amazon River. Any member of the Tucano community can drink ayahuasca, but if there's important work to be done, a group of shamans will gather together and they will drink truly massive quantities of ayahuasca. And I'm going to quote here from the work of Gerardo Reichel Dolmatov, his book, The Shaman and the Jaguar. Reichel Dolmatov was one of the leading anthropologists of Amazonian peoples and of the Tucano in particular. And he tells us that after they've drunk these formidable quantities of ayahuasca, the group of shamans, they're called payes amongst the Tucano, will lie down in their hammocks where they, quote, feel they are ascending to the Milky Way. Once again, that meme of the Milky Way comes back into the story. And again, there's a leap to the sky. The apprentice may only get a foot or two off the ground, but after more experience and more practice, they will be able to rise higher and higher, and so on until at last, in a single soaring flight, he will reach the zenith. So in summary, the shaman's visionary journey through the ayahuasca portal involves a leap or, after sufficient practice, a soaring flight to the Milky Way. And it's said that the individual dies when he drinks the potion, and that now his spirit returns to the uterine regions of the beyond, only to be reborn there and to return to his ordinary existence when the trance is over. So this is conceived as an acceleration of time, an anticipation of death and rebirth. So ayahuasca really is a kind of book of the dead. It's a guide to the afterlife realm, not in written texts, but in direct experience.
You know, my whole thing is